And then finally, and to some extent I think following from the leadership topic, because I just alluded to it, but I think to some extent this kind of stands independently on its own, the future of the movement is in question when people commit acts of civil disobedience, pardon me, commit acts of property destruction rather than civil disobedience, because as a function of folks being jailed, an assault on dominant ideology, not wanting to be associated with a quote-unquote terrorist group, folks are going to stay at home. They're not going to get involved in the movement, including on the civil disobedience side. Now, I've just contradicted myself a little bit because a moment ago I praised the spread of civil disobedience around the country. But I wonder if a whole lot more people wouldn't be showing up if it weren't for the stigma that unfortunately this movement has taken on thanks to property destruction.
In terms of the kind of future that we create and reflecting what we want in the society by our actions now, I actually feel that one of the things that's really, really important in society that's lacking is a population that responds adequately to problems, that isn't complacent, isn't apathetic, and that when something happens, we don't just put it into the hands of elected officials or authorities, but we take it into our own hands to some extent. Certainly a much greater extent than what Americans do now. We see problems across the world, we see problems in our communities and in our nation, and we always just toss it up to the people in charge to fix these problems, even though they never ever do a good job, right? And so I think it's important that one of the things that I want to see in the future that I would like to create or help create is everybody engaging each other. There being some kind of responsibility towards other citizens and other people in your community, and the mountains and the rivers and the animals too, where if something is going to go wrong, that you step up. I mean, it's kind of the basis of the Antifa movement right now, that if you see something that's going wrong in terms of the fascist buildup that's happening in this country right now, that movement actually steps up and says, you know what, we know the police aren't going to deal with this. We know the FBI are going to deal with it the same way they dealt with the Klan in the 60s, which is by basically ignoring them and letting them do their thing. So we're going to realize that reality and step into that space and physically confront these people. And it's not nice, but what happens when you let that kind of thing go unchecked? It's not good. You can look at it historically. It's not going to turn out good. So part of the future I want to create is people who are willing to say, you know what, I'll give up my future potentially to fight this environmental destruction. I'll give up my freedom potentially to stop this sexual harassment that's going on in this country right now, right? And I want people in my community that do that kind of thing.